Before the chart-topping hits, before the court cases, and before the cult-like fan base, XXXTentacion was just another Florida teen with a short temper and a SoundCloud account. He would evolve to be one of the most controversial, beloved, and misunderstood artists of our generation. A young man who in just 20 years sparked a cultural revolution and died before the dust could settle on his legacy. Born Jose Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy in 1998 in Plantation, Florida, X came into a world already full of chaos. His parents, Cleopatra Drina and Dwayne Onfroy, were of Jamaican descent. His father, a Rastafarian like his grandfather, gave him the name Jose in honor of a Bob Marley song rooted in the scripture from Ezekiel 34. But X's early life was shaped more by instability than spirituality. His mother had him at a young age and struggled to provide a consistent home, often bouncing from place to place due to emotional and financial issues. His father was largely absent and allegedly abusive. X's earliest memories are marred by trauma, and according to reports, when he was just 6 years old, he tried to stab a man who was allegedly attacking his mother. Crazy enough, I actually have a very similar story to this. So my whole life, my mom's been addicted to drugs. So as a kid, there would be times where I was in a bunch of random guys' houses. There was one time where my mom and the guy she was with got into a fight, and I basically used the Gillette razor to try to stab the man that was fighting with my mom. Just a little lore for you guys, but now back to the story. Following this incident, X was sent to a youth program, and after he was sent to live with his grandmother Colette Jones, who lived in Lauderhill. But even under her care, tragedy would find him. X would eventually discover the body of his uncle, who had taken his own life by hanging, a harrowing moment that he would reference in several songs years later.
Memories surfaced through the grapevine by my uncle playing with a slip knot.
The trauma didn't stop there. In various interviews, X described being sexually assaulted by an unnamed adult and witnessing a person being tortured and...
You ever seen somebody get tongue cut up?
Nah.
No?
No.
You ever seen somebody get...
Nah,
No?
necessary, bro.
It's a lot of shit.
I know, bro, but still,
Being intimate don't
man.
got nothing to do with it, bro. Shit, bro.
I know, but listen.
You ever had to live with the pride of your mother being a stripper when you was younger?
Nah.
You ever seen somebody try to get mom in front of you?
But me hear that, but you can't make that.
I feel what you're saying, though, don't get me wrong, but you have to go through it. I can tell, you can go get and I can tell you suck it up. But every night you go to sleep and you remember what you seen, and you remember how it felt, you remember that horrible feeling in your soul. Nobody can comfort you.
His mother also claims that he was regularly beaten by his father, and that he even witnessed violent confrontations between his parents. In 2008, when X was just 10, his father was arrested in a DEA sting operation, and sentenced to 9 years in Arizona prison on RICO charges. He would later be released in 2015, but then got deported to Jamaica in 2016. In a 2017 interview, when asked about a dad, X sarcastically replied, "What's a father?"
Do you have any relationship with your father? I mean,
What's that? What's a father?
Physically, X faced additional hurdles. He was born with a ventricular septal defect, a hole in his heart which stunted his growth and left him at 5 feet 6 inches. He also struggled with mental health issues and was diagnosed as bipolar at a young age. At Margaret Middle School, he got into multiple fights and was eventually expelled. After being enrolled in the Sheridan House Family Ministries for over 6 months by his mother, he began discovering music as a serious outlet, learning to play the piano and guitar, while also listening to everything from rap, nu metal, to even rock. And X didn't just listen to his favorite rappers. He was just as likely to scream along to 30 Seconds to Mars or Papa Roach. His aunt convinced him to join a school choir, and later a church choir. But even those effects collapsed after he attacked a student who touched him. Despite the chaos, music was taking root as his emotional escape. In high school, X attended Piper High, where he met Ski Mask the Slump God. The two would bond over freestyling, and X described himself at the time as a misfit. Quiet, yet often in fights, and deeply insecure and depressed. Eventually, he dropped out in the 10th grade. And he was no stranger to juvie because he was arrested multiple times for offenses ranging from gun possession to robbery. He and Ski Mask the Slump God even reunited at one point, planning to commit a string of home invasions. Lucky for them, that plan never materialized. Instead, X bought a blue snowball microphone and turned his focus to music. He also encouraged Ski to do the same. By 2013, X decided to leave crime behind for good, crediting his then girlfriend Geneva Ayala for helping him come to that realization. Back in 2012, X had already been arrested for marijuana possession and breaking into a home to steal a laptop for music. A 2013 Snapchat video showed a 15-year-old X hitting a girl, Brianna Starling. Originally shared jokingly, his team claimed it was playful, but Starling later said she feared for her life. X accused her of extortion, alleging that she demanded $300,000 to stay silent, as well as threatening him to make further accusations. She eventually admitted the video was playful, and X dropped the lawsuit. In 2015, he survived a suicide attempt after running into traffic. Then in 2016, after a dispute fueled by misinformation, he stabbed his manager Dylan Turner. The incident all happened after a fake rumor was spread by Ski Mask the Slum God, and Dylan nearly died during the incident. Despite the severity of the attack, Turner dropped the charges after X paid his hospital bills and apologized, saying, "As f***ed up as it is, I'm forever in your debt." Between 2015 and 2016, X faced more serious allegations. He was arrested for a 2015 home invasion, where he and others allegedly pistol whipped a man and stole his electronics and cash. He was charged as an adult and pleaded no contest. While awaiting trial, he was arrested again in 2016. This was for an aggravated battery of a pregnant woman, his ex-girlfriend Geneva. He also had charges of false imprisonment and witness tampering. Geneva herself would even detail his alleged abuse.
Bro, like, I don't deserve this, bro, like, I really don't. I really don't deserve this, bro, like, I really don't, and nobody helps me.
In one harrowing excerpt, she recounts how he allegedly told her to pick between two grill utensils, a barbecue pitchfork and a barbecue cleaner. He was going to insert them into her. She passed out and he did not go through with the threat. She also stated that he beat and stomped her for singing along to another rapper's verse on his song. While she was pregnant, she said that he beat her until her left eye was swollen and leaking. Her ex-boyfriend and his mother both corroborated her account of what happened, and X was eventually arrested and charged. That case dragged on, but Geneva later asked for charges to be dropped and refused to testify. Fresh out of jail in March 2017, X immediately announced a surprise $5 concert in Miami, but before he even showed up, the crowd rioted and police shut the whole thing down. Just a couple months later, the Revenge Tour kicked off, and there was even more trouble at his first show in Houston. You see, his friend Wi-Fi's funeral stage dived into the crowd, and instead of being hoisted up, he was jumped by fans. Then during a June show in San Diego, X was knocked out mid-performance. This incident overshadowed the fact that a fan was even stabbed that night in the crowd. The violence that night was linked to an ongoing feud with rapper Rob Stone. They targeted X's crew and even dropped a diss track bragging about the attacks.
Let me get this right, you be the pregnant woman. My who can rock with that, you need a lesson for it.
Shortly after in Salt Lake City, X would punch a fan on stage, claiming self-defense after warning the crowd not to touch him. A planned Chicago show would get cancelled due to riots, and days later X's cousin was shot, which caused X to cancel the remainder of the tour. Later that year, a free show in Tampa drew over 3,000 fans to a venue meant just for 750 people, and once again chaos broke loose. Police shut it down and fans were tear-gassed. Even at Rolling Loud, one of the biggest festivals, X got into another fight with a fan, claiming self-defense. Legal proceedings were however cut short when he was murdered in June 2018, with all the charges being dropped after he died. More controversy would come from social media. In 2018, Pitchfork would release secretly recorded audio of X confessing to domestic abuse and the stabbing incident.
But nobody's understanding I put my source of happiness in another person, which was a mistake initially, right? But she fell through on every occasion until now. Until I started her up, bro. But I started her up because she made one mistake, and then from there, the whole cycle went down. Now she's scared. That girl is scared for her life, which I understand. You see me, you know what I do to people. You know, all of them boys know. It's on new times. I'm on new times. How many people they put in the news? They said 3, it was 8. In Deerfield, you know that. She seen the She seen when I came back from stabbing in Orlando. She seen when I came back, I had a brand new laptop. No tears on my face, no remorse. I just knew I was going to jail. She knew. So she's scared. She thinks I'm gonna kill her.
But full tapes later showed him expressing regret and trauma, forgiving his ex and promising to never hurt her ever again. Amidst all this, X was branded as rap's most controversial man by Spin, and the most controversial freshman ever by XXL. X's shock tactics continued in his art. Just one day before releasing his debut album 17, he posted a haunting Instagram video simulating his own suicide by hanging, a blurred line between art and a cry for help. Weeks later, he dropped a Riot music video, which featured a staged lynching of a white child. This was intended to flip the racial violent narratives that have been going on in the US for a long time. He defended it as artistic support for both Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, which was a contradiction that didn't sit well with many. In late 2017, X would be briefly jailed for bond violations but released to house arrest, which ended in early 2018. After Drake previewed KMT, a track fans felt ripped X's flow from Look at Me, X responded by calling Drake a and mocking his mother in deleted posts.
You could take his verse, like they did a mashup. They put his verse on my song, and the cadence is literally just at the same tempo. It's not offbeat at all.
So now where do you guys stand? Like, what's good now?
I still think Drake as a man. No, I'm keeping it blood raw. I still think Drake like, I think he's not a man. I think that's a move.
That beef escalated quickly. Offset from the Migos jumped in, and Chicago rapper 600 Breezy claimed Drake never gave him the go-ahead to target X. X later accused the Migos of attacking him and pulling a gun on him.
Before you hear from anybody else, I got jumped in LA by some and they jumped me. Nobody gave me the faith of a one-on-one. Nobody gave me the respect of a one-on-one. And I painted that when he was on the ground. Just to let y'all know why they jumped me. I'm just letting y'all know from now, though, I'm a man before anything. And I'm going to take my like a man. And I'm going to carry myself like a man. And it don't affect me. Y'all lose money with me. Oh, and the up fire on me, my girl, and my point blank, period. So if you see anything, just know they had fire and they pulled a gun on me, man.
Even major music platforms got involved. In 2018, Spotify removed X from their curated playlist under a new hateful conduct policy alongside artists like R. Kelly and Tay-K. X's team pushed back, pointing out that legends like Dr. Dre and Ozzy Osbourne were not punished despite having worse allegations. It took an intervention from Top Dog Entertainment CEO Anthony Tiffith threatening to pull his entire label's music from Spotify before the decision was reversed. X publicly thanked Kendrick Lamar and Top Dog, but the episode underscored the industry's conflicted stance, unable to decide whether to cancel X or to crown him. Through all the chaos, X remained a figure defined by his talent as well as the storms he stirred. So I guess the question is, in the end, did X really change? Well, for starters, in the early days, XXXTentacion's music sounded like a weapon. His breakout tracks, Look at Me and I Don't Want to Do This Anymore, weren't just songs. They were audible emotional breakdowns recorded in chaos. The beats were distorted, his vocals screamed, and the lyrics lurked between violence and vulnerability. At the time, he wasn't trying to entertain you, he was trying to shock you. The fact is, after being released from jail in April 2017, X had returned to the internet with a very different energy. Gone were the Instagram beefs and open threats. Instead, he began posting cryptic messages about peace, spirituality, and mental health.
So what I wanted to say is basically, stay in school for one. Stay in school and make sure while you're in school, you focus on what it is that makes you happy.
I was blessed in the end. I'm appreciative for everything, and I've changed tremendously as a person, and I'm just very grateful for where I am right now, so thank you. Like, I want to just have more power in the aspect of to motivate the youth and to push the youth in a positive direction.
On the track Jocelyn Flores, he sang about the side of a close friend. The song Depression and Obsession was a slow-burning confessional about mental illness. And his song Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares was a dark robotic poetry about death. But not everyone was buying the transformation. While X was getting softer in the booth, the courtroom was still catching up to the allegations of extreme abuse against his ex-girlfriend. Critics argued that 17 was a calculated PR move, an attempt to humanize him before the trial. His fans believed that he was an icon for the emotionally broken, and so did the industry. Apple Music and Spotify began promoting him again. Celebrities like Kendrick Lamar tweeted the support of 17, calling it raw and powerful. The songs were polished, emotional pop records, tailor-made for the mainstream. Sad would become his biggest hit of his career, hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 shortly after his death. The clean beats, softer vocals, and vulnerable lyrics all helped shape the new narrative that Jahseh Onfroy was growing. At his concerts, X would stop to tell kids in the crowd to love themselves. He talked about trauma, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts. He told people, life is worth living, so live another day. Videos of him hugging fans and crying mid-show went viral. For young kids, especially young Black and Latino youth, Dealing with mental illness in silence, X was the only artist who truly spoke their language. He wasn't just a rapper anymore, he was a therapist with a mic. But underneath all the healing, the question lingered: was this a genuine transformation or a carefully timed redemption campaign? Even saying in an Instagram story that he was starting a foundation to support battered women, despite still being embroiled in his own domestic violence case at the time.
Okay guys, so I'm gonna be starting a challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. And in this challenge, the way to participate in this challenge is basically whoever makes the most donations gets to meet me, spend a day with me, gets to go out to dinner with me, kick it with me, play video games, and get like a shout out and just something simple, and maybe even a $1,000 reward.
And his label Empire was fully behind this new image. The sad music video, which was released posthumously, showed a fictional version of Jase beating his old self to death and walking away reborn. This was the literal redemption arc visualized, and this is also where the lines between growth and marketing begins to blur. X still hadn't gone to trial, the criminal charges were pending, and his alleged victim, Geneva Ayala, was living in fear, telling X fans, "I know you don't f with me, but this isn't about me. I honestly don't care for any of the hype. I lost someone close to me, leave me alone." And yet to the public, Jase Offroy was no longer an abuser. He was a martyr making music. The industry began to lean into the rebrand, and media outlets that once condemned him started praising his own emotional growth. The label started calling him a troubled genius. Even his critics softened, taking a wait and see stance, and the numbers alone can tell you where the fans were. By June 2018, X had 3 songs charting on the Billboard Hot 100, even while under house arrest. His Spotify streams crossed 1 billion that year alone, meaning the redemption story was extremely profitable. X would start to publicly distance himself from the old him, and Empire started to see an opportunity to package his evolution into a profitable narrative. In October 2017, while facing multiple serious felony charges, X ended up signing that $10 million deal that we talked about before. According to the New York Times, the $10 million deal was brokered by Empire CEO Ghazi Shami, who told reporters that X had recorded a significant amount of material for his 3rd album. And as we all know, he became the voice of the youth, a wounded, misunderstood poet trying to guide others from the same darkness he once embraced. Suddenly, he returned with a new attitude, a spiritual message, and a major label advance. To a neutral eye, this looked like an image rehab campaign, a strategic move to sanitize his brand while lawyers fought to keep him out of prison. What many didn't realize was that the $10 million deal wasn't for X's past success. This was an advance on his future. Empire was willing to bet it all that X was going to be even bigger. They were investing into the myth of a man who had turned his life around, while also making sure that they owned the catalog when that myth took hold. Just 2 months after signing the contract, X was shot and killed, and suddenly that $10 million investment became priceless. After his death, streaming numbers exploded, and within 24 hours, Sad broke Spotify's single-day streaming record. Posthumous albums were fast-tracked, merch dropped, and documentaries were announced. His mother and management team turned his legacy into an ongoing business. Empire had made a bet, and it paid off far beyond what anyone could have imagined. In the end, whether you believed in his transformation or not, it still made the label a lot of money, and X's life forced us to confront an ugly truth about fame in the digital age. If you die young enough, you become whatever the world wants you to be. A lost soul, a misunderstood poet, a tortured genius, or a violent abuser who never faced his reckoning. In truth, Jase Offroy was all of those things, and at the same time, he was none of them fully. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.